Thanksgiving used to be my favorite holiday. I loved the food, the football, the chaos of the kitchen, the kids running around, the family jokes, all of it. I always saw it as the one time of year when everyone came together without worrying about presents or obligations. Just good food and gratitude. But this past year was different, and it still weighs on me so heavily that I don't even know how to process it. I need to get it off my chest somewhere because I can't really talk to my family anymore about what happened. I grew up in a very middle-class, small-town family. My parents both worked hard, and they raised us with the idea that we had to push ourselves to make a better life. I took that to heart, maybe more than my siblings did. I ended up building a business in my late 20s, and after a lot of sleepless nights, mistakes, and lessons learned, it really took off. Really took off. I sold part of it in my late 30s, and for the first time in my life, I had more money than I ever thought I'd see. Not just comfortable money, but the kind of money where people start treating you differently. That was the beginning of the shift with my family. At first, they were proud. My mom told every neighbor what I had done. My dad would brag to his friends. My siblings acted happy for me too, but little things started to change. Suddenly, I was expected to pick up every tab when we went out. If I hesitated, there were jokes about me being stingy, even though I never minded paying most of the time. When birthdays and holidays came around, they'd comment on the gifts I gave, like they weren't big enough considering what I could afford. It was like my worth to them became tied to how much I spent. A couple of years ago, I bought a property that had always been a dream of mine. It was an old estate outside the city, with land, a pond, and a huge house that had so much history. I poured myself into restoring it, not to show off, but because I loved it. It's the kind of place where you walk in and instantly feel at peace. I thought it would become the center of our family gatherings for decades to come. I imagine Thanksgivings with kids and grandkids running through the halls, people sitting around the long dining table, and memories being built. Last year, I offered to host Thanksgiving. I had been saying for years that I wanted to do it. I hired a local chef to help with the cooking, not because I didn't want to cook, but because I wanted to make sure everything was perfect and that I'd have time to actually be present instead of stuck in the kitchen. I thought everyone would be excited. Instead, what I got back shocked me. My oldest sister told me flat out that my house was too much and that it made everyone uncomfortable. She said they wanted a normal Thanksgiving, not one where it felt like they were being reminded of money. She told me they had already decided to do it at her house, without even asking me. Then came the kicker. A week before Thanksgiving, I got a group text from the family saying that it would just be easier if I didn't come this year. My own family uninvited me from Thanksgiving. They said it wasn't personal, but that the dynamics were different when I was around now. I stared at that text for hours, reading it over and over, trying to understand how the people who had been in my corner my whole life could suddenly shut me out like that. At first, I thought I'd just spend the holiday alone. Maybe I'd go on a trip somewhere warm and distract myself. But the idea of sitting in silence, while I knew my family was together without me, was unbearable. So, instead, I decided to do something completely different. I reached out to a local community group I had been supporting quietly for a while. They work with families who are struggling, people who don't always know where their next meal is coming from, people who don't have anyone to spend the holidays with. I asked if they had folks who might want to come to my home for a real Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't know what to expect. I figured maybe a handful of people would be interested. But word got around, and soon I had 37 names. Some were single parents with kids. Some were older people with no family left. Some were just down on their luck. I opened my home to all of them. I set the dining room table with the nicest china I had, lit the fireplaces, put music on, and made the place feel warm and welcoming. When they arrived, I was nervous. I didn't want anyone to feel out of place or like they didn't belong. But as soon as the kids started running around the house and the adults began laughing and talking, the whole place came alive. We ate together, we played games, we shared stories. For the first time in years, I felt like I was part of something genuine again. Nobody cared about the house or what I had in the bank. They cared about the food, the company, and the feeling of belonging. At the end of the night, one little girl hugged me and said it was the best Thanksgiving she'd ever had. I had to hold back tears. In that moment, I realized I didn't need my family's approval to make the holiday meaningful. I had created something real and good, even if it wasn't with the people I expected. That said, it still hurts.
My family didn't call me that day.
Not a single message. Later, I saw photos on Facebook of them all smiling together, like I had never existed. It's a strange kind of grief, mourning people who are still alive but who've chosen to push you away. I don't know if we'll ever repair things. Part of me wants to try, but another part of me wonders if I should just let go and build a new sense of family with people who actually want me around. This year, I don't even know what I'll do. Maybe I'll host again for people who need it. Maybe I'll spend it quietly. But one thing I know for sure is that Thanksgiving will never feel the same to me again.